Alright everyone, today I just wanted to have a more candid conversation with you all about the two new banners available in-game and whether they're worth rolling on, especially if you're a free-to-play player with limited Primo Gems. For anyone who isn't already aware, the rate-up banners are easily the best banners any free-to-play player can roll on. These have a very tailored output of results, and even when you aren't shooting for the characters on the banner, still having the best chance for a 5-star character compared to the standard banner. The standard banner, in my honest opinion, is one of the worst banners to roll on in the game, due to its insanely large and varied pool of items, none of which are higher chance than the others. Now in regards to Klee's banner, I'll just start with this one and say it's simply amazing. The reason for this is not only because of Klee herself, but because of the 3 4-star characters that are also receiving a rate up. The stars here are Noelle and Sucrose, and they are really decent characters, but they are absolutely amazing and worth taking up key spots on your team when you have their constellations upgraded. Take Sucrose for instance. Just getting her to constellation level 1 gives you a whole extra charge on her E ability, meaning there is 2 times less downtime keeping it up and doing damage. At level 4, every 7 normal attacks will reduce the cooldown of your E by 1 to 7 seconds, meaning you could spam it that much more. And if that wasn't busted enough, level 6 makes your Q grant your entire team a massive 20% elemental damage boost for whatever element you cause an absorption with during its duration. This literally turns Sucrose into an elemental reaction machine. Noelle, on the other hand, gets even more reliable and more effective when her constellations are in play. At level 1, her breastplate's healing effect goes from a 50% chance to trigger all the way to 100%, completely removing RNG from play. I don't think anyone needs to say just how good that already is. At level 2, she sees her stamina consumption on charged attacks reduced by a whopping 20%. At level 4, her breastplate ability deals a massive 400% geo damage AoE when her shield expires or is destroyed, going from being a purely defensive skill to giving you some potent offensive potential. And last up, we have her level 6. When you use her Q, your attack will now be increased by 50% of her defense. You know, her main stat. If you have your Q active, and your breastplate expires or is destroyed while having these constellations, you are going from doing a lot of damage to doing an insane amount of burst damage. This essentially skyrockets her in becoming an effective DPS. Because of the nature of the rate-up banner granting way more copies of these characters as your 4-star rewards, if you were considering using these characters, this banner is your best chance to get them upgraded. And if this wasn't a good enough reason, we now get to Klee. If any of you have made it to level 32 and gotten to try her out in her story quest, you'll understand the hype. Now, they try to make her seem like more of a supporty type character, but she is arguably one of the best DPS characters in Genshin. If you are free to play or even considering dropping a little bit of money on this banner to try and get her, is she worth your time and effort? Well, let's break that down a bit. Like any caster, her normal attack is a series of close range attacks that, for her, deal AoE pyro damage. Having a consistent source of pyro damage on your normal attacks is a great thing alone depending on the enemy types you're going up against, but for them to also always do AoE damage, that's fantastic. Now her E, Jumpy Dumpty, is also a really solid skill that has 2 charges. You essentially throw out a larger bomb that bounces 3 times, igniting and dealing AoE pyro damage each time it bounces. On the 3rd bounce, the bomb will then explode into smaller mines that blanket the area that will deal AoE damage as well. Pretty great for laying down area denial and maintaining pyro effects throughout a fight. Her charge attack is also pretty great, sitting at dealing 150% damage at base level. Now this attack also goes super well in tandem with her passives. At Ascension 1, Klee has a 50% chance to obtain explosive sparks with each charged attack, or her E. Now when you have an explosive spark, the next charge attack will cost no stamina to use, and will deal an additional 50% increased damage. Couple this with her Ascension level 4, that says when a charge attack results in a crit, all party members gain 2 elemental energy. Now, if it wasn't apparent already, gearing Klee with crit chance and crit damage is going to be the way to go. This will solidify her as a top tier DPS that also causes your supports on your team to generate their abilities insanely fast even when they're not on the field. Now her Q, Sparks and Splash, is also just a solid ultimate skill, continuously dealing AoE pyro damage to enemies for 10 seconds. Now that's her basic kit, and probably the depth at which most free-to-play players will experience. Her constellations, which I have up on the screen here, I really won't get into due to this fact. Now I will say they are extremely good and honestly make her insane, but sadly being a 5-star character, it's going to be a long time before many players get to experience this DPS that turns the entire team into ability spammers, essentially once you reach Constellation 6. So is Klee's banner worth summoning on? Well, if you're looking to kit out your Noelle or get a monster of an animal character on your team, I'd say yes. If you happen to get lucky and get Klee, even better. She's a solid DPS and worth using even without her constellations. Plus, she's adorable. Now, the other banner that I want to talk about is the Raid Up Weapon banner. Normally, I'd say don't even bother with the weapon banner. But if you have a Claymore wielding user on your team, the Wolf's Gravestone is hands down the best in slot in the game, especially for someone like Dilute. Just look at these stats without any refinement. 20% increased attack, and enemies hit that are under 30% HP will increase your entire party attack by another 40%. That's nuts. Now the catalyst, Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds, is also a really solid pull. Just look at the base stat of having crit rate. This alone makes it one of the best, if not the best catalyst for Ningguang and Klee. The perk is also really solid for DPS casters, because it lets them gain elemental damage bonus every 4 seconds they're on the field. And for casters who are your main DPS, this is obviously insanely good. It doesn't stay when swapping out of combat, but hey, it's still worth pulling. Now, the other 4-star Raid Up weapons, they're okay, but the Dragon's Bane is now on there and is probably one of the best support weapons for Xiangling, letting her skyrocket her pyro support damage. So I'd say all around, these are extremely solid banners to pull on, depending on what you are looking for. If you don't need any of these characters or weapons, obviously save your gems for whatever comes next potentially, especially if you don't have the resources to really invest in a new character or weapon. Now, if you found this video useful, consider smashing that like button and subscribing to Legacy Gaming. While you're at it, remember, you can always join us on Discord. Our community is spread across dozens of great games, so click the link below and join us today. My name is Livid, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, guys, and play on.